everybody, welcome back. I've got the tights on. You can't see right now, but you'll see in these clips. And Furia, yes, exciting project, soon to be coming back in 2021, rebranded as Fearless. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Custom, premium, gym, comes fashion, made for athletes, by athletes, no bullshit, Italian fabrics, designed and made in Australia, and everything is 100% natural, organic, bamboo, future fabrics. Stay tuned, there's a shameless plug. But anyway, back into it. It's obviously leg day because the tights are on, I've aforementioned this. Now, this is the last or the second leg day, but it's also the second to last workout in the week. So I'm gonna give you a bit of a run through of the whys and the whats and the hows. And by now, you've already got some context as to why I'm doing a lot of the things I'm doing based on what I told you in the other videos and at the start of this series in terms of my general well-being and structure at the minute. And if those of you who haven't seen that, I encourage you to go back and watch these sequentially. But if not, pretty much I'm doing certain movements because of my specific preferences and also my movement pattern and general health, which I'm gonna go through now. So we start off today with a good old leg press. So it's a squat variant. We're generally going 2/3 up the platform. I am quite wide. I'm trying to get my actual squat stance. So I'm not doing a high stance. I'm not doing a close stance. I'm not doing a low stance. There is only a few variations worth doing, those that I have mentioned. Also, you can add bands, but I'm not a massive fan because I like to keep things simple, but it is another variation that is probably conducive that will give you some sort of benefit, especially if you're more in the strength realm. However, here, more in the hypertrophy or fancy name for muscle building, we are looking at basic variations that work well, that feel good. So we're generally doing 4 sets on this one. We've been doing a sort of double and linear progression. So for example, I've generally been keeping the sets the same, so more linear and increasing the reps. And then once I hit a certain rep target, then I'm increasing the weight. So super, super simple stuff. I was working up to around the 15 and then heading up towards the 20 rep mark. I found that was taxing the body too much. So what I did is I pulled it back a little bit and I decided to go a little bit heavier and sort of work from a 10, 12, 14 and then up to 16, then on the last week AMRAP, so as many reps as possible. So the leg press feels really good. It doesn't load my spine. I'm able to still get a lot of volume through the quadriceps and obviously the glutes and hamstrings assisting and calves as well. So really, really good. Love this machine. Tips on leg press, guys. Make sure the seat is generally quite far back. If it's really high, it causes a really acute angle. You can't actually get your hips anywhere close through your knees, so it just becomes a very shallow movement. And also, you don't need to go super deep if you can't get there, because a lot of the time, if you lose the neutral spine from the pelvis, you're gonna then cause a lot of discomfort in the lower back, and that is not what you want. A lot of people sort of come down, they use gravity rather than using their muscles, they come down too low, they're not keeping their joints stacked and they're causing a lot of pain. So make sure for this one, guys, you keep everything tight, you keep everything stacked, and you're not trying to go down too low, and you adjust that seat back. Safeties are in place and you're not trying to unrack it from a position which is too high. All right, after that, we're moving on to a good old barbell hip for us now. For those of you who may be able to notice the peachy gains, hashtag peachy, I've got a fairly big ass. I've got quite good genetics in the glutes. They are well developed. A lot of cycling back in the day, I probably would put that down to, and a lot of playing football and a lot of other variations along that part. Obviously, genetically, they're just predisposed to be a little bit larger. So I don't do loads of these usually, but because, again, I can't squat and deadlift, or I'm not squatting, deadlifting to a degree very heavy at the minute to protect the loading of the spine, these ones have been really good, so I've been getting them in. Again, there's many ways to do these. You don't necessarily need a band. You can use a band to assist the activation of the glutes or glute med, the adductors, the hip flexors, etc. But again, just the run-of-the-mill bar will do. Get a good pad on it, set it up anywhere from 30, 40, 60 centimeters in height. You can add a pause, make sure, again, the joints are stacked, feet are parallel for the most part. You've got yourself a great hip thrust. Make sure, again, the hips are tucked, the core is engaged, glutes and the hamstrings should be on fire. After this, I've gone for a single leg variant. This one is a CUNT, all right? Excuse the language, but the Bulgarian split squats, super, super, super hard. Great for stabilization, unilateral work, and fixing up muscular imbalances. Once again, really good to turn on the medial part of the glute as well, glute minimus. And also, again, activation unilaterally through each side of the quadriceps too. So making sure that the knee isn't falling in, making sure you're keeping the joint stacked, the hips are tucked, the body is centered. You don't want to fall too far forward, but you can have a slight lean forward as well. This one, very difficult. Start off lightweight, guys. I wouldn't sort of give this generally to a beginner unless there was assisted from a wall and it was body weight for rehab, and you could even change the height of the bench or the box that you're actually using as well. Or you can even assist yourself again by using a wall and just having one dumbbell rather than doing both. So a really good exercise, more for activation and what I like to call pre-ab, preventative rehabilitation, and to enhance more squat patterns and single leg variations and the bigger movement patterns later on. So I'm running this in this block, but I will swap this out. I generally won't keep it in for too long because it's quite taxing and it's not something that I can put a lot of volume in, but it does add an aid to the whole or the bigger movement patterns down the line. So really good if you want to improve stability. Thirdly, we're going on after this. Sorry, that was fourth. That was third, so we're going on fourth. Jesus, can't even count. So fourth exercise, I'm doing a cyclist squat, so elevated heels. I've already got my lifters on anyway, so I'm at quite an acute angle, and I'm trying to literally just drop straight down onto my heels. I'm making sure my joints are stacked, knees are extending, a lot of quadricep dominant on this one, a little bit of glutes and hamstrings on the way down, but very, very challenging. Using a dumbbell or some sort of kettlebell as well on the front, making sure I'm keeping, again, a nice neutral spine. The arms are up, keeping that kettlebell, that dumbbell in place, a nice, slow, eccentric to a degree, and then a powerful on the way up where we can. An absolute burn in the legs, especially with knee sleeves. It's almost like a bit of occlusion training. But again, something different for the quadriceps rather than a leg extension, something a little bit more free weight, and again, a squat pattern in its own right. Higher rep sort of stuff for this, guys, not loading it massively heavy as I'm not doing it with a barbell or a Smith machine. So a really, really good accessory or another movement to put in if you want to develop more quadriceps and even improve the squat pattern, which will feel really nice because you've got that elevated heel. After this one, moving on to another single leg variation, we decided to do some step-ups, I believe, if the video is correct, only because I know I changed this as I was filming some of these blocks. So some of these exercises, guys, there might be notes on the screen now that we've changed it up, but I generally had a step-up. There was different variations. I did one with a kettlebell onto a bench. I was doing one with some cables as well. We have a kinesis machine, so just fancy name for movement. And that was really good. Again, it was adding stability. It was another single leg variation that I wanted to do, and it was really good to build up, again, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, and just work on overall balance and fix weak spots in the movement, keeping that spine neutral. A lot of core activation as well throughout that movement for stability. So quite a block where I'm hand-picking exercises and being quite specific with this. Not a lot of the, I guess, mainstream favorites. So things that you can do alternatively rather than just, you know, I guess the run-of-the-mill stuff, but at the same time not picking things out that are completely obsolete, that have no return. So thinking about the bigger picture here with these. So again, really thinking about that downward step, that eccentric, making sure the hips are neutral, really controlling it, activating the glutes on the way down, quads on the way up, etc. And last but not least, seated calf raises. So seated calf raises, working more of the soleus rather than gastrocnemius, so underneath. Not the one that you generally see, but still an assisting muscle to the calf, so good to work it out in the seated position. And again, guys, calves do not bounce on them. You want a nice, slow, you want it controlled, and you want to stretch on the way down when you're dorsiflexing, and then when you're plantarflexing, and you're coming through, you want to get a little bit of a hold so you get a full range. The reason why on the way down, if you bounce on it, you don't get a full range. The Achilles tendon, one of the biggest tendons and strongest in the body, it's going to take the load. You can bounce on it all day. If you come down, you hold it, you actually recruit the muscle itself. Yes, the tendon is still under load, but you get more of the muscle, you come up, you get a peak contraction at the top. You're going to get a lot more out of this. You might have to drop the weight, you probably will, but you'll actually grow some damn calves. And if your calves don't grow, train them more frequently, train them with better quality, and train them closer to failure. Trust me, they will grow. Bang. So that's it, guys. That is the last leg day, or the second leg day, I should say, because it's never the last leg day. There's always another leg day to do, and you guys should probably train legs more. So do not underestimate the power of legs, guys. Train them properly, again, as always, with good form. That they are foundation. You use them all day. Yes, they're hard, they're bigger muscle groups, they generally cause more central fatigue, and they hurt more, okay? But if you grow the legs, you're gonna be better from a functional and aesthetic perspective, and also the hormones that you'll get, the testosterone raises from doing some of the bigger lifts and developing your legs will also help you, especially if you're natural, to grow the upper body. The body doesn't want to get too far out of proportion. So lots and lots of benefits as well as looking like an aesthetic sick Kent in the mirror. Guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed this series. We've got one more to go, which is the last full upper body day. As always, if you've got any comments, stick them in the comment section below. Make sure they're positive, keep it real. Of course, guys, like the video if you like the video. Subscribe, of course, for weekly videos. Click that bell icon so you get notified. And of course, until next time, guys, because I'm gonna go and eat and get a shower because I stink and I'm hungry, stay fearless.